in all of these for partnerships. The Texas Health Catalyst program is sort of the signature program. It's always, answering the right problem, right solution. How do we have the go-to-market strategy? That's a long-standing legacy with some amazing numbers. The Texas Health Catalyst is that key. Ruben and others, some others, Nishi is here, have been doing this for many years. That was only possible, and what makes it different is that we have 300 plus clinical and industry advisors, of which many of you are in the room. This works because we're focusing on major problems where we have the innovation and processes in place. Some of the kinds of internal partners, Ruben showed a number of them, but that leads to these kinds of numbers. Some of you have seen these 500 teams, about 1.2 million has led to some amazing output, which is a dramatic number of disclosures, over 60 million in follow-up funding companies created. What's really amazing is you can start thinking about this for how you can use this towards our build out. We have a $2.5 billion tertiary hospital being built just down the street here at the University of Texas in the medical center. There's a partner clinic tied to MD Anderson, University of Texas system partner for cancer care. And we're doing this under this umbrella that we're calling the Hospital of the Future. So this challenge, how do we do this? Because we're able to build right in the world of AI. So can this be an AI native system? We talked a little bit about this at the last roundup, but what have we been doing? We've gone through in the 2024, we had AI in Health Challenge. You're gonna see the teams around the fall 2024 challenge areas. And we also, because of our developing partnership with AbbVie, we have an industry sponsored challenge, okay? So these are areas that are ongoing. What I want to also talk about is where are we at for 2025. So our future includes smart and sustainable systems around smart systems, sustainable design. That's upcoming. So we're going to have challenges coming up, and we're hoping that the kinds of wonderful innovations you're seeing today will be catalyzed in those areas. Our fall guess is that we're going to go after autonomous care because of the opportunities that's going to be provided in that space. And one of the thematics that I'm thinking about a lot is intelligent medicine. And what does that mean? But I'm giving you sort of a what have we been doing and what are we coming up in the near future? Okay. So how do we measure impact? There's lots of other questions. I just want to talk about 4 different classes of follow-ups for these Texas Health Catalyst teams that I want you to be thinking about. One is an example of a really interesting technology that is now being deployed for real-time blood pressure monitoring for preeclampsia, so critical time during pregnancy. That team now has a wonderful ARPA-H grant to really drive that in a very meaningful way, $2.7 million to really do that next round de-risking. For those who were here last time, Babson was actually taking your blood draw and giving you testing. And they started out early on, back when the Dell Medical School was very early, and it was really around how you can match, make, and build. And Babson's, you can go to your HAB here in town and get blood tests. That was started through the Texas Health Catalyst program in the past. So that's another example. Tim Mercer has secured a sponsored research project in partnership with Gilead. And so that's an example of another outcome from one of these Texas Health Catalysts. And then the last one is sort of this area that's really interesting because of this longitudinal partnership with AbbVie, went from identifying the problem areas, identifying potential opportunities, to now you're gonna see actual teams working on this area of post-stroke spasticity care, which is a major issue in our healthcare system. What do we have upcoming? A couple of quick things I wanna be advertising. We are interested in really trying to address major issues. So we have something coming up we're calling Caffeinate and Innovate. We've done a few of these. The next one is around how we're going to use AI in medical education. It's a major issue. It's coming up in February 11th. We have top researchers in the room, and our outcome is that we're gonna have really cool teams to go at and submit and present at the second UT System AI Symposium in Healthcare. This is open to the public. The dates just got set, which is May 15th through 16th. It's going to be in Houston. But we're really trying to figure out how we can activate all of you in this major area, which is how AI is going to be transforming healthcare. So with that, the most important slide is connect to us. If you have interested in questions or processes that 2D barcode should work, we have a very simple email address. And we're going to be here today with that. Thank you for coming. Excited to have you. And I'm going to be in the audience just like you and really getting a chance to see these wonderful teams, both current and past teams, as they showcase this program that's been developed for the last decade here in Austin. So thank you. All right, great. Oops.
Okay, this is the favorite part of this event for me because I get to acknowledge and highlight all our mentors and advisors who've helped in this cycle. As Steve mentioned, we have more than 300 of them. Many of you are in the audience. And each cycle, we pull about 30 to 40 of these 300 advisors who volunteer their time. And we pull the folks who, based on the proposals we receive. So for example, and we pull from our own ranks at Dell Med, but also more from the generous ecosystem around us. So for example, in this cycle, we got quite a few molecules and drug solution proposals. And we were able to draw from folks like Greg Stein and Brian Windsor and Paul Lammers and Janet Walco and Doug Baum to help not only vet and shape these projects, but mentor these teams. We also got quite a few screening and diagnostic tools, and we were able to pull from people like Amy Altman, Rosemary French, Vibhas Deshpande from Siemens, Gail Page, to help, again, with these projects. And as Steve mentioned, in this cycle, our corporate partner was AbbVie. We have been partnering with them to support care for stroke patients. And you will hear from 3 teams who are developing AI models to help predict risk and support clinical decision-making. So in this case, we were not only able to pull from the incredible ecosystem around us, people like Ben Fauber and Jim Garaci and Tom Patzels, who have actually done these things in the real world. We were also able to pull from the leadership at AbbVie, Darshini Shah, Kaurik Baun, Rima Kaloti, and from our own ranks, our IT and technology folks who mentored the teams around how to design something that can be integrated into the EMR. So what we are able to do is essentially be the trusted convener of folks who can not only shape these projects and mentor these teams, but potentially help to commercialize these solutions. So we're very excited and proud about that. So before I hand off to Nicole, I just also want to say this time we're doing something kind of silly, but also kind of cute. We made a whole bunch of bobbleheads of these mentors who, for these teams that we're going to present to them. Actually, they look incredibly realistic. They're incredible, actually. So afterwards, mentors, if you could come at the end of the event to come by and pick up your bobbleheads, that would be great. Okay, so I would love to call Nicole Clark up here. Nicole heads up operations for the program, and she also directs our Health Associates program, and she'll talk a little bit about that, and also kick off the first cohort of presenters. Nicole.
Thank you, Ruben, and thanks again, everyone, for coming. We're so excited that this event is finally happening. So I just wanted to say a few words about the Health Associates program. So the program is really aimed at pre-medical and medical students who have a special interest in innovation and entrepreneurship. So we have a boot camp series that they participate in. We educate them and have them learn on topics such as competitive landscape, path to market, and follow-on funding. And then, the goal there is really to kind of empower them to create impact. not only in the projects that they're assigned, but also as they continue to grow professionally within the healthcare space. So they are assigned a project team, and what we're going to do this time is actually have the health associate come up, do a quick 60-second intro, let them tell you what they learned, what their contributions were in 60 seconds, and then introduce the person pitching for their project team. So that's the plan. Each of the pitches have 3 minutes to complete their presentation. They will get cut off, but they've been practicing. And then it will be followed by a 2-minute Q&A from our lovely judges over here on my right. Speaking of the judges and the process, I don't have a clicker. Okay, sorry about that. Oh. Okay, sorry. Okay, so the judges will be judging on these 5 areas, the 5 categories around adaptability, the clearest problem definition, most creative solution, biggest local health impact, and the best pitch overall. You all, as the audience, will also get an opportunity to vote on your favorite during the audience choice. You'll be able to vote by your phone, so just be on the lookout for that QR code. And then I wanted to just quickly introduce our Group 1 judges. We have Dan Stromberg from Dell Medical School at UT, Jordan Kaufman from Live Edge Health, Joe Scraba from Discovery to Impact at UT, Nishi Viswanathan. Everyone knows Nishi. She's now at Innovation Lab. Van Truscott with Big Idea Ventures. Special thanks to you all for offering your time and willingness to participate in this event. So without further ado, I will go ahead and kick it off with our first presenter, which is our health associate, Kate Angulo. Kate?
Thank you, Nicole. Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Angulo, and I'm a student associate here at Texas Health Catalyst. I worked alongside my teammate Anish to support an amazing startup team led by Lee Chan, Jimmy, and Chan. And they faced a few challenges as to where it was hard to build a bridge and fill the gap between their business goals and their clinical goals. And to help this, I and my teammate, Anish, actually put together a project where we would effectively communicate with them and send them equitable items in order for them to actually fulfill them, and we would effectively communicate so that they would do this effectively. And we are so proud and so happy that we were able to contribute to their project, as we are so sure that they are going to be able to make a really big impact in the future. And now I'm going to pass it on to Jimmy to tell you more about their project.
Hi, I'm Jimmy. I'm glad to be here to introduce our promising treatment for the pancreatic cancer that based on activating a unique T-cell subset. Pancreatic cancer, the case is increasing, and the market is growing. It remains one of the deadliest cancer with 5-year survival rate less than 10%. Despite of FDA has approved anti-PD-1 therapy for the pancreatic cancer, the response rate is still less than 5%. And this is indicate the urgent needed for the efficient immunotherapy for it. The reason why anti-PD-1 is not work because primarily they are target the new antigen-specific T-cell, and there are only a few in the pancreatic cancer. But in contrast, there are abundant of self-specific T-cell, but unfortunately they are dysfunctional because of the high tolerant and highly suppressive cold immune environment. So compared with anti-PD-1, our approach can transfer this cold tumor into hot tumor and activate both self-specific T-cell in a safe and efficient manner. And this is a breakthrough that no one else has ever achieved. In our patent, there are 3 key compounds. One, it can target self-specific T-cell to elicit broad T-cell response. And second, there's a unique activation regimen that can outperform anti-PD-1 therapy and improve the anti-tumor response, both in murine and human tumor organoid. And third, we optimize the drug delivery platform to minimize the side effects. We are an excellent team, including immunologist, drug development advisor, and clinical doctor to bring this project forward. And we highly appreciate our mentors' invaluable suggestions. And we address those issues that are related with IP strategy, large-scale production, and potential market need. And most importantly, we have, because those self-antigen are universally expressed, so our unique advantages is those our strategy can have a highly potential applicability to other cancer types like glioblastoma and ovarian cancer, because anti-PD-1 hasn't achieved enough success in this area. And right now, we are working on the preclinical candidate confirmation, and the next step is initialization, the IND-enabling study. Thanks to the THC program, we have achieved significant progress. Bring a hope to the treatment of pancreatic cancer. Now we are seeking partner to join our journey. Thank you.
All right, now we can have any questions from the judges. You have 2 minutes. Yes, Dan.
Yeah, there's probably. So we have, like I said, we have 3 components. The last one is we optimized our delivery platform. So this was like another platform that focused on the targeting the tumor area. So yes, it is have side effect, but we can reduce it.
Yes, Van.
So you show what your market is, your global market. My question to you is, as a startup company starting out, where is your beachhead? Where do you start? What size is that market? Who would you target?
Okay, that's a good question. Like, so project market is 7 billion. So we focus on in the future, we focus on, like we talk with our doctor advisor, we focus on the resectable and borderline resectable patient. They are like about 20 to 40%. So our target market is around 2 billion, ideally, but potentially, because I said our platform has a high potential applicability to other like low mutation tumor. So potentially we're gonna have a higher, like a bigger market, including other like hard to treat cancer.
Do you know regionally where you would start in terms of targeting potential customers and exits?
The place, the region? Yeah. So right now, the data was from the home world. So I think we're gonna start from US because the US has a big population of this patient. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Risha. And we can have the next student come up.
Hello? Hello, everyone. My name is Aswin Panda, and along with my fellow student associates Joycey Brass and Rohit Conradi, we've been working with Dr. Leanne Field's team on closing adult and prenatal immunization gaps. With the training we've gone through from the Texas Health Catalyst program, our role as student associates was to assist our project team in refining their business model as well as focus on their path to market. Working with our mentors, Amy Altman and Kelly Hawthorne, has truly been an impactful experience where we learned how to turn an innovative strategy into a support system that can save not only millions of dollars, but millions of lives as well. We are passionate about supporting our healthcare providers, and working with this team has shown us how an efficient and organized support system can make their lives so much easier. Our project team has a successful proof of concept and is looking to expand the CDC's code list. I'll now hand off the mic to Phil Beckett to explain more about their innovative support system.
Thank you. I'm Phil Beckett, and I want to thank both our team and our advisors. But chronic diseases are the leading cause of infections, death, and healthcare costs in the United States. 60% of adults have at least one chronic disease. Vaccinations are a potential way to reduce that risk and reduce healthcare costs, but they have to be delivered precisely. We believe that targeting that 60% of 200 million adults in the US at $1 per life gives us $120 million revenue to administer the VAC-OP product. But for healthcare, it's worth billions of dollars in potential savings. The problem is healthcare providers have difficulty identifying which patients need vaccines. The CDC rules are complicated. Their electronic health records just go on age and past immunization history, not contraindications or comorbidities. So what did we do? We did two things. One, we took the CDC rules, we took from 104 medical codes to 8,000 for vaccines. We ran these against patient medical records, and we identified 100% of patients who could use a vaccine. The CDC current list only identified 18%, so it missed over 80% of those. The second thing that we did was integrate this workflow into the provider's electronic health record so that it was easy, part of their workflow, to see this is what we recommend for this patient. Boom, problem solved. We piloted this at People's Clinic in Austin. The medical director, Dr. Appel, said, getting an accurate alert that a patient needs a particular vaccine can be challenging. VAC-OP provided much more useful guidance, saving time, reducing missed opportunities to give adult vaccines. Our team is multi-discipline with academics, pharmacists, physicians, technologists, and health information experts enabled to put together this holistic solution. We got great feedback from our reviewers. One was clinical impact. We've integrated this seamlessly because if it isn't used, it doesn't have any impact. We've also implemented an electronic health record agnostic, but it's expensive to integrate to electronic health records. We can deploy this across easily without any integration, or very lightweight. And we're also leveraging the health information ecosystem that exists across the whole country to deploy this. So we can do it very quickly without costs and leveraging existing. Our path to market is currently applying for funds. Over the next 18 months, develop and implement the VAC-OP system and put in 4 clinics and 2 pharmacies, and by 30 months, commercialize our product. The ask from Texas Health Catalyst, the funds, is to help us finish off, expand to all adult vaccines, put together a viewer, and seek additional funding. And with that, thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Any questions?
Thank you. Great presentation and definitely a worthwhile effort. One question that I have is, I'm assuming you all did a pilot at People's Community Clinic. Just curious about the efficacy of the system, and the way that I would measure it is, what % of time when that alert pops up do physicians recommend to their patients? And 2, like, what % of times do those patients accept those recommendations? So just curious about those outcomes.
Yeah, no, great questions. And we did work really hard. You know, part of that's accepting. We worked a lot with People's Clinics. That's why we want to do a bigger pilot and really measure some of those outcomes, because we spend a lot of time with this one getting feedback on, hey, we don't like this, or can you move this here, or we don't understand. You know, to get trust, you've got to build a lot of transparency into the system. So working with physicians, we got a lot of really good feedback. If it's giving recommendations, then why? So we feel we're in a good place now to go into a pilot and do that. In terms of patients accepting, you know, there's we're not necessarily going to change. You know, we're just really providing evidence, but we've got tools to measure that. So in this codes in the electronic health record, where again, in our second study, we can go and say, we offered it, but did the patient accept it or reject it, and compare to old data. So I think we can get to those numbers. But thank you.
That was great. That was a great presentation, thank you. A little question on the customers. Have you guys identified who's going to actually pay for the technology or the product, and what does that pathway look like?
Yeah, our thoughts, the main ones who benefit from this are the health plans. You know, those are the ones paying for healthcare. If you reduce complications and expensive down the road, it's sort of long term. You don't see the benefits for a while, but really looking at the health plans, paying a very low fee for this. They were used to it per member per month, adding it to their fee, then deploying it because rather than the physician's office, you know, they're taking care of the patients. They're not really getting the direct benefit of it. So that's where we're looking for the business model.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sani, and together with my fellow student associate Grace, we've been working together with Dr. James Tono's group from Biomedical Engineering on advancing cervical cancer diagnostic technology. From the feedback we received from reviewers, we focused on effort on two things: path to market and partnership development for our laser microbiopsy technology. We worked alongside our mentors, Rosemary French, Hector Torres, and Jessica Calderon Mora, who gave us invaluable insight on all facets of our product to be translated into the point of care setting. We're passionate about improving women's healthcare accessibility, and this experience has shown us how to bridge engineering innovation with real clinical needs. Our team has made exciting progress on prototype development, and we're now exploring strategic partnerships to advance towards clinical testing. I'll now hand it over to Alex to share more about technology, so please welcome him to the stage. Thank you.
All right, hi everyone. So diving right in here, after a patient initially receives a positive screen from a pap smear or HPV test, they're brought in for a colposcopy. This is a careful examination of the cervix, but is highly subjective depending on the provider's experience. During that procedure, if there's an area of interest that's noted, or perhaps at a subsequent procedure, a biopsy is required for diagnosis. Biopsies are very painful, and this pain often limits the number of samples that a provider can actually collect. After that, the biopsy is analyzed and the appropriate therapy is recommended, at which point the patient has to come back in for a follow-up procedure. During this entire process, there are many additional follow-ups that are required, and as a result, many patients get lost in the cracks of treatment. Our solution from MicroBX aims to solve this problem by essentially compressing colposcopy, biopsy, and diagnosis into one procedure. This would limit the number of patients that are lost to follow-up and also addresses the pain aspect of biopsy collection. Overall, this would contribute to an over $1 billion savings opportunity as a result of earlier intervention and accessibility for patients. Our system utilizes a novel donut-shaped beam that essentially extracts a small fragment of tissue on the order of a few hundred microns. This tissue is then analyzed by our point-of-care analyzer in order to provide immediate feedback to the physician and guide subsequent therapy. Compared to existing technologies, our product is way less traumatic and painful for patients, but still offers the same diagnostic power. So from our reviewers, we were advised to follow a phased approach to development, where phase one primarily focuses on our harvesting device, which would likely follow a 510(k) pathway and could be integrated into existing workflows. Next, phase two would involve our diagnostic analyzer, which would also end up working with some sort of strategic partner for development and would likely follow a PMA. This would be the aspect that completely disrupts the existing protocol. Overall, this approach de-risks development and the release of our device. So this is a very high-level look at our timeline here. The main things I want you to know are that our technology is already patent pending, and we recently received the Texas POC award. However, we require additional funds to really get our technology at a clinical stage. We have a strong technical team featuring clinical advisors from Dell Medical School. And I will leave it here at our value proposition. I'm happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, Alex.
Nice presentation, Alex. I was just wondering, do you have any evidence that the sensitivity and specificity of this approach matches or surpasses the current standard of care?
The idea is that we're able to collect more biopsy samples per patient, which is the limiting factor right now. So the reason why sensitivity is so low is that on average, only one biopsy is collected per colposcopy. And studies seem to generally show that at least having 3 or more biopsy samples contributes to an over 95% sensitivity. So we're able to lower the bar for basically collecting more biopsies.
Thank you. Great presentation. So does your biopsy system have to use your analytical system as well, or is it agnostic with current platforms?
This is the nice part. So our first harvesting tool can be integrated into existing workflows. So that sample can be processed similarly in a pathology lab like they do now. But there's technologies already out there, and we've already demonstrated in our lab that we can create a device that basically bypasses the traditional pathology lab and provides immediate feedback to the physician.
So then is there a reason that because it's a PMA, it's going to require significant investment. So is there a reason that you're also investing in developing the analytical platform as well?
This is particularly why we're looking at strategic partnerships, so we don't have to take on as much risk with that development.
Alex, it's a little unclear to me what the advantage of point of care performance of the biopsy specimen.
Essentially because the patient doesn't have to come back. So particularly for underserved and rural communities, patients just simply don't come back in for follow-ups. And so even if they're diagnosed, they just don't come in to get the appropriate therapy, which is what contributes to the very high rate of preventable late-stage cervical cancer.
Thank you.
So we can basically get them while they're already in the office.
Great. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks.
Yeah, the next group, please.
Hi, I'm Jolaman, MS in Technology Commercialization student at Macomb. Alongside Aris Rafferty, a biomedical engineering student, we have been collaborating with Dr. May's team to advance a fetal movement detection technology to prevent stillbirths in high-risk pregnancies. Guided by mentors Amy Altman and Kelly Hawthorne, we have conducted a targeted market research, developed a go-to-market strategy, and created a pitch deck highlighting our progress. Our work has defined a dual path to market, a direct-to-consumer wellness app and a prescription-based clinical application. We have outlined key milestones for clinical validation and minimum viable product development, identified funding opportunities and essential resources. These efforts position our innovation for meaningful real-world impact. I will now hand over to Dr. Mays to delve into the technology. Thank you.
Well, thank you. My name is Ken Moise. I'm a maternal fetal medicine specialist here at Dell Medical School, and I want to share with you a very novel idea that we developed to democratize the prevention of stillbirth. Stillbirth occurs every 26 minutes in the United States. That means 20,000 women lose their baby unexpectedly during the course of their pregnancy, and about a quarter of these occur in normal pregnancies. 1/4 of the 3.6 million births in the U.S. are considered high risk for stillbirth because mom has hypertension, diabetes, or other risk factors. Those patients are monitored once or twice weekly with standard tests using ultrasound, but between the visits, there's no monitoring at all. And so data would say that this probably doesn't change the rate of stillbirth. And then these tests have excessive time and financial burdens on the mother to come into the clinic multiple times each week. So our solution is a machine learning-based algorithm using the audio recordings from a smartphone applied to the maternal abdomen to detect and classify fetal movements. To date, we've recorded 96 hours of recording with over 100,000 2-second snippets of fetal movements detected by ultrasound. And when you look at gross fetal movements, we are almost 3 times better than the mother at detecting the actual movements that we see on ultrasound. And when you look at breathing movements, which are a sign of fetal well-being, we're 5 times better than the mother in detecting fetal movements because of breathing. We have 2 patent pending applications in through UT. This is our team. Myself has about 35 years experience in obstetrics. Kelly Gaithers, the Deputy Director of the Advanced Computing Center here at UT. Amy Altman was instrumental as an advisor to help us think about commercialization of this, and Kelly Hawthorne helped us with thinking about what clinical research we should do. Looking at our timeline, the money we would use from Texas Health Catalyst would be to complete our data collection and to go ahead and develop an app that would be used by the patient. We believe we could launch in 2027 a direct-to-patient application with perhaps a $1 per month application fee, and we project 150 to 200,000 downloads per year. We'd move on after more major funding to a large-scale clinical trial to compare our method to the standard as an additional adjunct to the standard clinical testing. And then later we would submit a 501(k) exemption through the FDA for a prescriptive-based application from physicians using standard CPT codes for home monitoring. And we project in the United States alone up to 820,000 high-risk pregnancies would apply for this. As far as some of the comments that we had during our reviews from a clinical validation protocol, we believe the multi-center clinical trial will answer our clinical validation. We will take into account security and other user experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Any questions?
So you mentioned that you've trained this on 96 hours so far
It's 90 hours of recording, yes.
of recording. So how much more data do you need to be able to increase your accuracy above to where you're at? And then how is that going to correlate to also like rare situations and rare complications during pregnancy?
So we believe that, and this has been my clinical experience, first of all, as far as number of patients, we are projecting another approximately 75 patients for a cross-sectional study. We've completed a longitudinal study, same patients seen 5 times, and now we're collecting cross-sectional data to look at other factors that could influence the audio uptake. There are going to be situations in pregnancy for acute loss where this won't detect it, but based on my experience, we'll see progressive changes in fetal movement over time, and the app will allow us to track that and develop a movement alarm signal, if you would, where now that patient is at very high risk for loss and needs to come in and there should be consideration for delivery.
Thank you.
I'm curious, you mentioned 510K. Is there a defined predicate for this device?
Sorry, say again?
Is there a defined predicate?
There's not.
Yeah, as a mom, I think this would have given me a lot of peace of mind. Can I ask about the intellectual property strategy? Is there going to be a patent? How do you protect this? What's the barrier to entry for others?
I'm not sure I understand your question. Could you repeat
Just
it, please?
intellectual property, because what if somebody else does the same research and develops a similar product? What prevents them from entering the market and competing with you?
So we have 2 patents pending right now on the application itself, the idea of using the microphone to access fetal movements. We're not sure if we're picking up sound waves or we're picking up fluid waves, but there's 2 patents pending on this application.
I assume that a lot of these would be pre-viable. I was just wondering how much of an impact you think this would be clinically? Like how often can you intervene to change the outcome?
So I think it'll have a major impact based on being able to look. So stillbirth's defined as after 28 weeks gestation. So all those pregnancies could potentially have a viable baby if they're delivered in time and we get the baby out of a condition where it's deleterious to the baby. So I think it could have a major impact on changing this.
Great, super. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
All right. So we have the final group for this cohort.
Hi, everyone. Hope y'all are doing well, staying dry. My name's Rishav, and together with my fellow associates Jade and Haroon, we've been working with Dr. Saber, Dr. Alambegi, and Tarun on their proposal to improve modern brain stroke treatment through the creation of a novel, magnetic, robotically steerable delivery system for guide wires and catheters. Stemming from our learnings through the Texas Health Catalyst Associate Bootcamp, we conducted competitive analyses and patent research for the team, as we believed that this would allow for the team's innovation to stand out as much as we believed it should. Furthermore, interacting with our mentors, Dan Ledeen, Elisa Maldonado-Holmertz, and Dr. Amadio, has allowed us to gain more invaluable lessons about how the technical innovations can be translated into clinical solutions, be it through the brainstorming process of the innovation itself or through how to navigate FDA regulatory pathways en route to production. In all, this opportunity has allowed us to work with a team working to ensure the patient safety and doctor safety while simultaneously allowing for healthcare costs associated with hospitals to be reduced. And we're grateful for this opportunity to view the intersection of entrepreneurship, engineering, and medicine. I'll now hand it over to Tarun to talk more about the technology.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tarun from Magnetics Medical. Today, I'll be talking to you about our magnetic delivery system for neuroendovascular interventions. First, let's examine the facts. Around 80% of the 8 million cases of ischemic strokes globally are caused by obstructions to a significant blood vessel in the brain. These are known as large or medium vessel occlusions, and every minute counts, as we know, so it's critical to intervene in the so-called golden hour after symptoms begin to minimize the risk of complications. The typical treatment is a mechanical thrombectomy, but this suffers from some notable limitations. First, a surgeon must deploy an extremely flexible, less than 1 millimeter thick guide wire starting from the patient's groin and under an X-ray manually push it all the way up to the blockage in the brain. While without active steering, they frequently struggle to get the guide wire to turn as intended at branches along the blood vessels. And this is a huge inefficiency for such a time-sensitive process. Second, as you can see on this image, certain parts of the brain are simply too torturous or even impossible to access without precision steering technology. And any navigation struggles will simply worsen the X-ray radiation the clinicians are subject to. So what is our solution? Our solution is a soft magnetic delivery system that offers many advantages. First, we simply fabricate a low-cost magnetic head that we take and attach to existing delivery bodies, such as commercial guide wires or commercial catheters. Then using our compact actuation platform, we can control the orientation of this magnetic head using an external permanent magnet that is mounted to either a passive or robotic arm, along with a separate motorized insertion mechanism. We decrease radiation exposure for the clinicians by fundamentally improving the efficiency of the treatment and enabling teleoperation of the system for remote interventions. And finally, the enhanced precision offered by magnetic steering allows access even into the most complex vascular bifurcations and conventionally less accessible blood vessels. So first, here is a simple demonstration of our technology where we're using the steering magnet to control the magnetic head's orientation, then a joystick to operate the insertion mechanism. And now from last week, here is an X-ray view of us using a robot-assisted magnetic steering approach to navigate through branches in a realistic vascular phantom. Let's take a look at our market now. There are about 75,000 annual MT procedures in the US where we can deploy this system to significantly decrease the current failure rate because the clot could not be accessed with available equipment. Over the next few years, this area, as well as the robot-assisted field, are going to be growing substantially. And by 2030, we see a total addressable US market of about $3 billion. In the first phase of development, we will deliver a passive arm-mounted magnetic steering interface for seamless integration within existing workflows. The second phase will be a full robotic system capable of remote treatments for any patient located anywhere. We outperform our closest competitors across a broad range of criteria relevant to market adoption, as well as practicality for the surgeon's usage. And now here's our roadmap. We have our IP filed, and with the help of our mentors, we have identified a 510K pathway and plan to have FDA approval by 2028. Here is our team with over a decade of experience in surgical robotics and neurointerventions. And here's the value we offer to our key players. And with that, thank you to our mentors for all the help, and thank you for listening.
Thanks, Tarun. Questions from the judges?
Hi, good presentation. I'm wondering if you've done any customer discovery with any clinicians. Are they likely to adopt or?
Yes, we are working with a clinician with us, and the idea is we are going to break into the market with the phase 1 of the technology, which really fits seamlessly within their existing workflows. Then it would really serve as a tool to address the limitations of the current process. And as we expand, we will be branching out into the more advanced phase 2 that's capable of remote interventions.
Thank you.
How does this system differ from the magnetically guided catheters that are used in the cardiac cath lab?
Yes, so that would be the stereotaxis. That's the most common example, stereotaxis niobe and the Genesis. Those mechanisms suffer from just requiring special infrastructure because of their bulky nature. You need special rooms to operate them with magnetic shielding. And the idea that we are having with our solution is we can seamlessly integrate within the existing infrastructure without needing that much of a capital investment, and it would fundamentally be a tool to solve the existing limitations.
All right, so that was the last presenter in the first cohort. Now I'm very excited to call upon our dean, Dr. Claudia Lucanetti, to say a few words. So Dean Lucanetti is a renowned neurologist, a translational researcher, and a well-respected educator, and we're all incredibly thrilled to have her lead into this future-facing era for the Dell Medical School. So Claudia.
Well, welcome everybody, and sorry I missed the first few talks, but the last couple I heard were great, and I'm looking forward to the other ones today. I just want to say a few introductory remarks, and just to thank everyone here today for really what is an incredible showcase of talent, of expertise driving health and life science innovation here in Austin. You hear us often talk about the Life Science Innovation District and our desire to really continue to build and invest in that space with partnerships with the University of Texas, Dell Medical School, and across the campus and the city. I do want to have a special thanks to my colleagues who lead the Texas Health Catalyst and Discovery to Impact efforts. I don't know where Steve Eckers is. Where is Steve? He's got to be here. Oh, he's right in the front. Ruben, of course, so thank you for the introduction. Martin Rotman is there. Thank you, Martin. And Mark Arnold is possibly somewhere here as well. And really to the many others who have contributed so meaningfully to really bring us these initiatives along with events like today's. And I know I speak for all the Texas Health Catalyst partners, UT's Colleges of Natural Sciences, Cockrell School of Engineering, College of Pharmacy, Discovery to Impact, and Institutes for Foundations Machine Learning teams, and of course, Dell Medical School and our own Center for Rare Diseases, when I say that the presentations we're seeing and hearing about today are really fantastic demonstrations of our potential to truly transform health and healthcare. And I think they also signal a critical component around the transdisciplinary nature of research. The big problems in health are not going to be solved by single disciplines. They're going to be solved by really these multidisciplinary teams. And there's really such a spirit here at the University of Texas. And I see Charlie Taylor sitting there too in the room. Our ability to really be able to recruit such top talent here, I think is a testament to that spirit of transdisciplinary commitment and collaboration. Today's finalists represent 5 of UT's colleges and schools, specifically pharmacy, natural sciences, engineering, the School of Information, Dell Med. Your ideas and the range of expertise that gave rise to them really powerfully demonstrates how we can meet the healthcare demands of the coming decades together. And the future of health is going to require inspired and empowered partners working in concert to really foster this culture of boundarylessness. That was a term that I used when I first came here. It's really a term that I would hear for the first time during my years at the Mayo Clinic before coming here. And it's really the idea that you're going to remove barriers to enable a convergence of talent, innovation, and knowledge. And I think that's what we're seeing here today. So cross-campus collaboration is really a defining opportunity unique to the university environment and an integral component of our efforts to establish a world-class academic medical center here in the largest U.S. city without one. You might wonder, what are we talking about? I mean, you would think that we would have a large academic health system, but in fact, we don't yet. And we have the medical school, we have this amazing flagship university, we have schools of nursing, schools of pharmacy, these other schools, but our moment is now to really not only invest in bringing a new hospital, building that hospital together with our partners with MD Anderson in close collaboration with the UT system, but in addition to really expand our footprint in healthcare, that includes expanding and bringing over 300 new physician and physician scientists over the next 5 years, in addition to expanding our ambulatory practice, and most importantly, to not lose sight of the academic mission, which involves education, research, and entrepreneurship. There's a reason that my first scientific hire as a dean was Steve Ecker. And what role did I appoint him in and ask him to come here for? It was to become the Associate Dean of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. That would be the first external hire that I would make. And that really hopefully signals how I and we here at UT and at Dell Med view that to be so central to create that entrepreneurial mindset that we see on display here today. So last year, Dell Med released its strategic plan for the University of Texas, where we set forward a bold vision of defining the future of health. And we understand the importance of digital data, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship to advance that future. And when we hear President Hartzell and others talk about what starts here changes the world, we like to lovingly say that health starts here, and the idea that we are focused on real-world impact to address real-world problems, which is really central to the Texas Health Catalyst theme. The vision demands that we set the standard of excellence in integrated patient-centered care, pioneer research with meaningful impact, lead innovation in medical education, and catalyze life science entrepreneurship, all while working together with our community, as well as training the future of healthcare leaders and powered by cutting-edge technology, data, and digital capabilities. This is really not about us just building another hospital or two to compete in the Austin market. This is an investment that will put our community and our healthcare ecosystem on the map and a new way to attract patients and partners who previously may have gone elsewhere, or if they were here, went without. And when we're building this hospital, we brought alongside SOM, the architect, together with MD Anderson as one architect. And we also brought on board Largo, Landgren and Argo, our two futurist consulting teams that are working alongside. And several of the teams here have been able to be interviewed by them and get input, because we're really trying to plan for the future and think about what health is looking like as many disruptions are happening in that space. So with that, I think it's exciting to continue to lean in and hear from all of you. We envision that UT Medical Center is going to be a thriving hub for an integrated academic health ecosystem, and is actually a living laboratory for healthcare innovation to improve and save lives. 2 years ago, my time started here, and I remain convinced since that time that we're one of the few cities uniquely prepared to do this work. The tremendous convergence of university talent, the medical school, all the colleges across the campus, schools across the university, the private sector, the tremendous technology environment we have here, at a time when we really have this greenfield opportunity to really build and structure this together almost from the ground up. And that is a unique opportunity at our hands here. Collectively, I believe we have the right team in the right place at the right time to establish Austin as a premier destination for both healthcare and innovation, a vision I know is shared across this room. So Texas Health Catalyst is one of Dell Med's earliest initiatives. It preceded my arrival, and it already showed that spirit of innovation entrepreneurship. It plays a key role in accelerating our shared vision by providing real-world validation, leveraging UT's world-class academic research, Dell Med's clinical enterprise, and Central Texas's innovative environments to identify and accelerate promising research through industry and clinical expertise, strategic partnerships, seed funding, publicity and showcase opportunities, entrepreneurship skills development, and startup support. Our early and ongoing investment in health and life science innovation entrepreneurship is central to our identity as an academic medical center and to UT's positioning as one of the world's highest impact public research universities. From the beginning, Dell Med prioritized innovation in medical education, and I see Dr. Jim Korndorfer here, who is our new Vice Dean of Education. Just brought him from Stanford to join our team. I think today is day 3 of the job, so we're excited to have you here. But again, I think from the beginning, we want to continue to instill in our future physician leaders the knowledge and experience and motivation to act as agents of innovation, not just change. And when you talk to Dr. Korndorfer, you'll hear about his work in innovation on the GME space, in the simulation center. And it was just one of those, again, that entrepreneurial spirit that is drawing leaders here and hopefully being part of this culture. You can find that innovation mindset across our curriculum for the medical school, from the emphasis on leadership and innovation as a core competency in our MD program, to the time we carve out in our unique 3rd year of study for students to focus on a range of interests, including clinical innovation and design. We've built a national reputation specifically on this program, and Texas Health Catalyst provides an experiential learning platform to our up-and-coming physician leaders, offering support for turning groundbreaking ideas into real-world solutions to faculty, residents, fellows, and students. And I know of nowhere else, no other medical school program in the country, frankly, that has their 3rd year really devoted to the possibility of pursuing not only an advanced degree, but to dive deeper into this entrepreneurial space, and look forward to continue to partner with the office led by Steve Ecker and Martin and others on the curriculum to complement and supplement, together with our other schools, this entrepreneurial activity. So what's new as we move into our next chapter is the opportunity for UT Medical Center not only to provide world-class integrated care for people in Central Texas and beyond, but to serve as an innovation validation engine, not just a living laboratory, but a platform for evidence to flourish, a place where a hospital of the future, intentionally designed to accommodate radical advancements, becomes the incubator for rapid adoption of now proven innovations. So finally, Texas Health Catalyst takes the unique facets of academic medical center, the convergence of education, patient care, and research, and joins them with more than 300 clinical and industry advisors, building Austin's health and life science innovation ecosystems, even as it leverages them. So this today is one of the ways we get from discovery to impact, from groundbreaking idea to real-world solution, from vision to reality, and from what starts here to what changes the world. So I really want to thank everyone for participating. This is a great turnout. I look forward to hearing more of the talks, and I want to congratulate you all, offer best of luck to the finalist teams, and if there's any time for any comments or questions, but I'm happy to take those as well. So thank you, everybody. Good.
Thank you very much. That's looking at it. It's exciting to hear about the expansion of our footprint in healthcare and the expansion in entrepreneurial mindsets. And as we are going to go forward with that, I'm going to take you back to 2 slides that I want to show you real quick. I myself am Martin Rotman. I'm Martin Rotman. But before we go into the second phase, I'm going to ask everybody here to think about the first group of pitches that they've just heard and think about which ones of those did you like best, and vote for your audience favorite. At the same time, I'm going to ask our judges from the very first teams to join Praneet over there and join and deliberate to think about your favorite of the first group. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to scan that QR code. I'll give you a little bit more time to get up and go. And while you think about that, and while you pick your audience favorite for the first group, I'm going to tell you that for the next group, the second group of pitches, it's going to be a slight different start of it. The very first 3 teams of the second round are all 3 of them focused on a specific disorder called post-stroke spasticity, or PSS. I've been told that for this one time I can use the abbreviation. PSS, post-stroke spasticity, is a very common condition affecting over a quarter of all stroke survivors, and it leads to involuntary muscle stiffness and spasms. This obviously causes very many difficulties in movement and daily activities, and early detection and effective management of this disorder are crucial to improving patient outcomes and improving quality of life. Now, we've partnered together with the company AbbVie in a brainstorming session and decided to support the development of an AI model that can predict risk and aid in clinical decision-making. Now, you will hear from 3 finalists, and the winner of those 3, or winners, potentially, will get access to a large set of clinical data to develop and further test their AI and machine learning models. So those are going to be the very first 3 teams. But before we go into that, I'm going to introduce our esteemed judges for this third group. We have Patrick Boswell from the Dell Medical School. We have Dr. John Iker from the medical school as well. We also have Conrad Wang and from HealthQuest Capital, and Jessica Mohm from the Discovery to Impact. I appreciate your expertise in grilling the upcoming 5 teams that are going to be pitching here. The first team on deck, so the first of the 3 teams that are talking about PSS, is led by Aaron Feller, and their health associates are represented by Sivani Pilaji. And so, Sivani, I'm going to invite you on deck, and then Aaron, you can come on as well.
Thank you. Hi guys, I'm Sivani, a third-year biology undergraduate student with a minor in entrepreneurship, and this is Lucas, a fourth-year biochemistry major. Partnering with the Health Catalyst program, this project aims to develop a machine learning-based model by integrating existing data into EMR systems to help predict post-stroke spasticity risk. We are hoping this provides actionable insights to healthcare professionals and serves as preventative care. As our team is in the beginning stages of the prototyping process, this team required efforts in reviewing primary literature, shaping strategies, and aligning their efforts with clinical goals. Our role as undergraduate researchers, passionate in the intersection between healthcare and AI, was to help be that bridge between the science and commercial viability. And we did this through advising with a pitch deck for funding and bringing knowledge on implementation and the path to market. And we were honored to work with many mentors such as Patrick, Darshini, and Corey and Ben for valuable insights to help us navigate through this prototyping process. So now I'd love to hand it off to Aaron, who can speak a little bit more about this. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's awesome to see so many people come out and support in community as we're working on hard problems. I'm going to jump right in now. So I'm going to tell you about how we're planning to model post-stroke spasticity for clinical decision support. So botulinum toxin A, or Botox, is the established standard in post-stroke spasticity management. In a randomized controlled trial, early treatment led to significant improvements in muscle tone, upper limb strength, basic arm function, and pain at 12 months. However, there's a problem, and that's up to 95% of patients with post-stroke spasticity are undertreated. So in the US, we have about 660,000 stroke survivors every year. It's estimated about 40% will develop this spasticity. We're diagnosing 1/4 of that. Beyond the diagnosis, we're treating 1/4 of those who are diagnosed. So the goal here is to predict PSS to achieve early intervention. We have an interdisciplinary team of expert ML researchers, and we're supported by a brilliant physician who has domain expertise, who's worked on these cases. So topological stroke volume is the best predictor of stroke severity, and we believe it's also potentially the best predictor of PSS. So our pipeline is to start with MRI or CT data. We perform segmentation using an ML model to identify the region of infarct or hemorrhage. We then map this to a brain atlas. We can identify the region, and all of this through ML, we can do feature extraction to pull out the affected regions and the volume per region. From this data, along with a rich data profile of the patient, we can generate a risk score to support early diagnosis. So based on patients who survive stroke and then have post-stroke spasticity, we're able to put together a collection of positive training samples and negative training samples. We train a model off of this, and we have a predictor of how confident the model is in PSS. So from this, we have our risk score. So this essentially allows us to have a direct risk assessment from standard of care data collection. So a patient arrives in the ED. The physician conducts standard of care, nothing additional, nothing different from what they normally are doing. We pull those features, pass them into our model to get a predicted risk score, and give that back to the physician so they can make the informed decision on how to best follow this patient. And then just in a roundup, again, 95% potentially are undertreated based on the literature. 75% have a late or undiagnosed case, and AI can help us improve patient care. And with that, I'll take questions.
So your technology is reliant on DICOM images and processing those. So my question is, who's your customer?
So, I mean, ultimately we build out a model. So we want to process the DICOM images immediately to create a training set to build our model out. So once we have this model in place, we can implement that with simple features that a physician could identify and input manually, or if needed, we have an additional cost to process those images. Secure file transfer to the server and return back the results.
So the hospital system that is seeing the patient for the first time.
Correct, right? We build out an EMR module that's in some sort of a shop space, for example, and if physicians or a hospital system is interested in using this, they could purchase the subscription service.
It looks like you've built your algorithm based on a training set. Have you had an opportunity to test it yet?
So we haven't. We're actually super early. We've just identified a plan. So we're still identifying potential data sets. We're also talking with our partners at Dell Med to see if we can do prospective studies to recruit and do some sort of a clinical trial in the space. I'll be honest, I'm a machine learning expert. I'm not an FDA expert, so I don't know, but that is why we have the support and the team we put together. Thank you.
Very nice. Up next is the second team on PSS, led by Reza Saber, and their health associate is represented by Shrey Kapoor. So Shrey, please come on up.
Hello all, I'm Shrey Kapoor and my fellow associate Allison Chen. As part of the Texas Health Catalyst program, we're under a product team led by Dr. Reza Saber on an innovative solution to manage and predict post-stroke spasticity. Despite its significant societal burden and prevalence, early detection and intervention with post-stroke spasticity remain challenging. As associates, our role was to assist the product team with navigating regulatory pathways and identifying path to market opportunities. Our team, along with the assistance of industry-linked mentors such as Patrick Boswell and Jim Giacchi, assisted our team with ongoing product development. In the Texas Health Catalyst workshop series, we were able to gain skills that assisted our team in presenting this flawless presentation. Finally, with all the work we've completed over the past months, we have taken one step closer on becoming an innovative solution to predict and manage post-stroke spasticity. And I'll now hand it off to Dr. Reza Saber to further explain the solution.
Hi everyone, I'm presenting Stroke Path AI, our solution for stroke spasticity. I want you to imagine for a second having a constant Charlie horse. Painful, relentless. That's how it feels like for stroke patients with post-stroke spasticity, for millions of stroke survivors. And unfortunately, just a fraction of them, less than 4%, receive the treatment in the early phase that can change the trajectory of their care. Due to diagnostic challenges, lack of care coordination, we have this limitation. There's a huge economic burden. Post-stroke spasticity results in increased healthcare costs by up to 400%, and this is just the direct costs. To solve this problem, we propose Stroke Path AI, an intelligent data-driven platform that ingests data from the EHR, and now this is imaging data, patient demographic, all sorts of information through our core AI engine, and predicts and stratify the risk of spasticity, and through our AI agents, coordinates the care, sends the referrals where the value is. So every patient will get the right care that they need. Our pipeline starts with developing our proof of concept model within the first 3 months in an agile fashion, followed by deployment in the EHR locally within our own stroke care network to gather the outcomes and for the pilot study. And after that, we have a full workflow implementation and integration with embedded guidance and care coordination. We have a fantastic team of stroke experts, AI experts, and leaders in stroke research and product development and EHR integration. We propose an explainable AI model that visualizes the model and provides key insights to physicians who are treating the patients to see where these predictions are coming to life. And we have preliminary results. We analyzed, using the same approach with our team, 2.5 million stroke records within the national inpatient sample. And we identified younger age, Black race, and severity of a stroke were the main determinant factors for early onset spasticity in the hospital. We have a clear regulatory compliance pathway with Class 1 SAMD 510K exempt. We project to go to market by 26 through our pilot program with academic institutions, and we have clear revenue models through strategic partnerships with pharmaceutical companies and subscription-based models with hospitals. This is a growing market, topping $20 billion globally, a lot of that coming from the neurotoxin market. And we are a first mover in this niche area, and with a fantastic team of our stroke experts that are integrated within our stroke care network, and with early industry support, we have a clear path to success. And with that, I invite you to join us to improve stroke care through predictive AI-driven solutions. Thank you.
So
Is the gist of this you're capturing more patients so they get appropriate therapy? It's not, you don't have a new therapy. Is that true?
Absolutely. We optimize the spectrum of care in an end-to-end fashion. So early detection is a key factor for reducing costs. Then we will coordinate this care to the referral centers, let's say clinics, that they will also benefit. They have skin in the game. They will follow these patients once we send them a list of patients who will likely develop this condition. And we have partnerships with pharmaceutical companies who sell these medications and drugs. So I think as a continuum of care, by coordinating the whole pathway of stroke care, we can bring a lot of value into this space.
You went through quickly some of the factors that you had identified using whatever review of database that you performed. Do you feel like that experience is determinative in terms of the types of factors that you will look for?
Great question. Spasticity usually occurs after 4 to 6 weeks. And this database that we have is a snapshot of the first hospitalization. It's all hospitalization across the US. So there is a category of early onset spasticity, and these are the patients that usually get it right in the first admission. Now, we have, for the first time, determined the determinants of in-hospital spasticity. There should be a lot of overlap. Interestingly, we found that there is rigidity, a code that is highly correlated with spasticity. And we believe this is one of the main markers. We also found high NIH stroke scale, more stroke severity, and also some other demographic factors. And we have to test that using that Optum database, which has continuous data. These patients that leave the hospital and come back to the clinics, that will give us the key insight. However, I do believe that there would be a good overlap, and I think this will clarify once we have bigger data that is continuous and longitudinal rather than a snapshot. So, thanks so much.
Very nice. And then the third team that focuses on post-stroke spasticity is led by Sam Rash, and the health associates represented by Jennifer Escobedo. Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer, and today I'm here with my fellow associates, Nick and Praneeth. Over the past month, we've been working with Dr. Sam Rax and Dr. Joshua Chang on continuing on developing products of AI model to predict post-stroke spasticity. We worked with our team mentors, Patrick Boswell, Darshini Shah, Corey Bound, and Tom Patzel, particularly in ensuring easy clinical implementation of our AI model. Outside of participating on these discussions, the associate team analyzed clinical literature to find economic impact of post-stroke spasticity, particularly in finding new possible ways for FDA regulatory approval and clarify any competitive landscape of our solution through market research. As student associates, we are very grateful to be given this unique opportunity to be able to communicate with health commercializing experts, as well as being able to apply our knowledge to real projects that will make an impact with our help of you. Now I'll hand it over to Dr. Rax.
Good. Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam, and I'm very excited to be here, and thank you very much for having me. So post-stroke spasticity, or PSS for short, is a very common sequelae of stroke, and it has broad implications. However, it is also very difficult to manage from a clinical standpoint. And the reason for that is there are certain uncertainties. For example, it is not always sure if spasticity will develop after stroke, when it will develop, how severe it's going to be, and in light of that, what is the optimal long-term treatment plan? So if we knew all the answers to those questions, we could improve patient outcomes, we could reduce hospitalization costs and time, and we could also address some of the socioeconomic disparities observed in PSS management. Thankfully, predictive AI models trained on big medical history data can be very effective in addressing those uncertainties, and therefore can be a good and very valuable aid to clinicians. And our goal in this project is to develop such a solution. So our core research team tries to bring the best of both worlds to the table by having a good clinical understanding of spasticity while also having the expertise in data science and machine learning. However, we also work closely with expert clinicians organically involved in spasticity management, even from the acute stroke phase to rehabilitation up until administrative oversight. So the biggest caveat we see with this opportunity is that even though there are plenty of working medical AI solutions out there, only about 3% of them actually make it to the market as viable products. And so to counter that, first of all, we want to make sure that data accessibility is not going to be a problem, so our model only operates in data that's going to be readily available in any generic clinical setting. Our model will fully exploit the longitudinal nature of medical history data, and also our market strategy will proceed in a way that we target the broadest possible set of users. And on the output side, we want to provide a risk score for specificity. We want to forecast its severity and potential consequences, and also recommend a treatment plan that has the highest chance of long-term success for the patient. So we received invaluable feedback from our reviewers and mentors that helped us greatly to ensure that during our model development and evaluation, we're going to follow a state-of-the-art approach from the literature. Clinical integration is also a key consideration. So we are planning first to smooth integrate with Epic systems for the broadest US market, and then with Athena Health for deployment to Dell Medical School, associated hospitals. And also, thanks for the student associates, we have a fair understanding of the competitive market and the regulatory challenges we might face. So first, we're going to develop and evaluate the model in silico using the Optum Clarity dataset and additional medical records data. And after that, we plan to proceed to a clinical pilot trial involving Dell Medical School. So then we can have like explicit clinical impact and economic impact data so we can properly evaluate the product and then proceed with commercial development. So thank you very much for having me, and I'm happy to take questions.
Hi, can you talk a little bit about how your technology is going to be differentiated from other ones that are doing similar ideas?
You mean the competing teams, or
No.
you mean the market?
In general, there's a lot of folks out there working in this space, and I'd like to hear a little bit about how you are going to do something different from the others.
So like from a technical standpoint, you mean? So there's like a very recent systematic review addressing over 80 studies analyzing medical health records and trying to come up with some a medical AI solution. And so the conclusion of that study is that like almost all of these have some sort of methodological limitation. And one of the biggest things, I can name like two things. One is that pretty much like a small minority of these projects apply machine learning techniques that can explicitly address the longitudinal nature of the data. So like temporal dependency between like medical records. And the other one is that in most cases, like they train the model on data that is not available necessarily in the real life. And so they, whenever like, okay, the numbers and performance measures look good, but then when we try to deploy that to a hospital, it's like, oh, okay, I wish we had that data, but like we're gonna have like pay for that, or like we have to like reach out to this like previous hospital that treated the patient, so like you know, snatch their data. So that's something that we definitely keep in mind when developing this model. So it will use only data that will be available in the real life. So it actually works when we deploy.
Who do you envision being the customer? Who's going to pay for it?
Excuse me?
Who's going to pay for it?
Well, I wouldn't say like, I wouldn't have like a specific answer to that right now, because like this model can create a situation where like everyone who participates is actually a winner, but like we see this as like a clinical decision tool which uses medical data, so I would say the hospital. And also it makes sense because like according to like current data, spasticity, if develops after the stroke, it involves like an additional cost of like $18,000 per patient per year, and $16,000 of that is due to hospitalization and increased stay in the hospital. So I think they have the most to benefit. Thank you very much.
Very nice. All right, so the next team focuses on a brand new RNA polymerase to improve RNA therapeutics, and it's led by Dr. Finkelstein and their health associates represented by Ruba Siddiqui.
Hello, I'm Ruba, and together with Param and Anisha, we've been working with a team dedicated to improving the impact and efficacy of mRNA therapeutic development. Our role was to assist in refining the market understanding and competitor landscape, ensuring our approach aligned with current needs. To this end, we conducted a detailed competitor analysis, identifying areas where our work could provide distinct advantages. We also researched emerging trends and applications to help the team flesh out the opportunity in this space. In the end, our contributions solidify the team's value proposition, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to learn more about translating laboratory research into commercialization. I'll now hand it over to our project team lead, Dr. Ilya Finkelstein.
Hello. I think we've all seen the power of RNA a few years ago, right? We all lived through a pandemic that was caused by 30,000 bases of RNA. And RNA was also our salvation. RNA vaccines saved us from a pandemic, and the numbers for the opportunity space here for RNA vaccines and therapeutics are staggering. Let's see, $73 billion market by 2030 for RNA vaccines and therapeutics. Over 13 billion doses of RNA molecules have been administered to people globally, with 70% of all people in the world having been injected with an RNA molecule. And this goes beyond just vaccines for COVID. This, of course, includes cancer vaccines and RNAs for therapeutics, including protein replacements, cancer therapies, et cetera. Massive market. Now, the interesting thing is all of this RNA has to be made in a test tube before it's deployed into humans. And it's made by one legacy enzyme, RNA polymerase made from a bacterial virus called T7. Now, this RNA polymerase makes a lot of mistakes. These mistakes cause cells to go into innate immune response, die, and actually cause systemic trouble for the patient. Our goal here is to develop a new next-generation RNA polymerase that can produce ultra-pure RNAs and enable RNA technologies like circular RNAs and super long RNAs for self-amplifying vaccines and other therapies. So that's our goal. We want to avoid the side effects, make long RNAs and circular RNAs, and produce ultra-pure therapeutics based on RNA, which is an emerging platform technology. Our approach combines mining the tree of life for completely new RNA polymerase variants from extremophile organisms that have learned a lot of tricks about surviving in extreme environments. Our lead candidates are incredibly specific, at least twofold, if not fivefold better than current technologies. And our goal now is to use machine learning technologies to further engineer them, improve these properties, and provide a drop-in replacement for existing T7 RNA polymerase. That will be our product. Our team consists of myself. I have over 15 years of experience in this space. Alexis Hill, who's a bioinformatician machine learning specialist, Dr. Salma Sidin, who's a protein engineer, and RNA transcription specialist. We have a phenomenal team that have really helped us with their enthusiastic support, market fit advice, and shaping this proposal towards a good product fit. So with that, our approach is as follows. We have lead candidates. We're optimizing them now. We're going to file IP on the designs within 6 months. Then we're going to refine these approaches, produce really compelling preliminary results that we're going to take to industry partners. We have quite a few industry partners already, conduct immunogenicity studies, and license this out globally. Now, we're already partnered with at least one company that produces mRNAs for R&D applications, and have already started talks with many others. And with that, I want to leave you and open time for questions for our approach.
Great presentation, thank you. How will your product be regulated?
So this is going to be, it depends on the market that it approaches. It's a pretty broad platform technology. For R&D applications, we're going to sell the enzyme either to enzyme manufacturers or people who make RNA, and they'll sell the R&D product to industry and academia. For GMP manufacturing, let's say for therapeutics, that's up to the pharma companies, right? So they're going to use this in a clean manufacturing, good manufacturing practices, so that then they can make sure that it meets all the safety and efficacy concerns that would be up to the regulators, if that makes sense. This is underlying all of that. And we're not selling the protein, we're selling, or they will be selling the RNA that is produced by the protein.
Hi. So you said that there are many markets out there.
Yeah.
Where do you see essentially the first market, the core markets that's going to actually launch this product or
I think
platform?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think the fastest and shall I say easiest entry point is to manufacturers of mRNAs. So there's a lot of companies that you can go buy an RNA molecule from, and they're always looking for ways to make it faster, cheaper, and have capabilities that others cannot do with their legacy enzymes. So they're very interested. They want our stuff. So we're already talking to them because you don't have to go through all the regulatory hurdles of a in human use therapeutic, right, for R&D. And then after that, it would go into the therapeutics. Yes. That's right. We're going to file after we do the further optimization and mutagenesis to improve the properties of the enzymes. Yes, we've performed an IP analysis. I think our differentiator is twofold. A lot of people are currently trying to engineer T7 RNA polymerase itself. Uh-oh, are we out of time? I'm happy to discuss afterwards. Thank you for your question.
Classic slow clap. It's fine. Very nice. So then the final team for the Texas Health Catalyst today is a team led by Jakendra Bajgain. They engineer antibodies to improve anti-cancer monoclonal antibody efficacy, and their health associates are represented by Ansh Patel. And so Ansh, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ansh Patel. I am a third-year undergraduate biology major, and through this Catalyst cycle, I have the pleasure to work with Yakendra as well as Dr. Maynard and Dr. Wynn on revolutionizing the way preclinical testing is done for monoclonal antibodies. Through our Texas Health Catalyst Bootcamp and the lessons we've learned, myself and our fellow associates have been able to assist the team on identifying what truly differentiates them, as well as exploring different business models that he will then present on today. I'd like to thank everyone for being here today, as well as the Catalyst team. And now I will pass it on to Yakendra to present his innovation.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Ekendra, and today I'll be talking about our antibody engineering platform. Antibody therapeutics have revolutionized the way we treat many diseases, and the number of antibodies that are entering clinical trials is increasing. However, despite significant investment of time, effort, and money, more than 83% of antibodies end up failing to get approval from FDA. And one of the major reasons for such a high failure rate is our reliance on preclinical mouse models, which often do not accurately replicate how an antibody is going to perform in a human system. Because of this, there's a disconnect between what you see in preclinical trials versus what you see when you put the antibody in actual human. This has resulted in such a high failure rate and late-stage failures where you have already spent a substantial amount of money and efforts into developing an antibody. So we have developed, to tackle this problem, we have developed an antibody engineering platform that allows us to engineer antibodies that are capable of engaging with both human and mouse immune cells. This bridges the gap between what you see in preclinical murine models as well as human clinical trials, and also provides an enhanced predictability of efficacy and potential side effects of an antibody. Simply put, if an antibody is going to fail, it's going to fail early and it's going to fail fast. That saves cost and time. The antibodies that are engineered using our system can be tested in readily available mouse models. That not only saves cost, but also time. We have a team of experts in biochemistry and immuno-oncology. And thanks to our mentors, we have been really able to reshape our commercial strategies as well as fine-tune our scientific approaches moving forward. So we have already successfully completed in vivo studies involving human and mouse immune cells and have already secured a provisional patent for this technology. And we are currently working on conducting an in vivo mouse model study in a melanoma model. So moving forward, we are planning on expanding this study, as well as we are seeking strategic partnerships and collaborations with CROs as well as biotech companies. And we're also looking at a possibility of establishing an in-house preclinical antibody testing system. We truly believe that our product has the capacity to revolutionize how antibody development process is right now, and we hope you join us in this journey. Thank you, and I'll take any questions.
Hi, good presentation. So you would be using this in discovery, but it probably wouldn't be in the final therapeutic product?
Yes, that's the thought.
Okay. So how would you prevent anybody from using this technology without licensing it from you?
So we have already filed.
Mm-hmm. Right, but just because you have a patent doesn't mean that people won't just use your idea without telling you that they're doing it. Okay, thank you.
Looks like we're good. Thank you.
All right, your market size. So how big is your market for this, that R&D market?
So that's a great question, right? So I've had some conversations with representatives from CROs that are involved in supplying these mouse models, and they're just waiting on some extra, in vivo results, and they're very excited about this. We are going to be working with the Office of Technology Commercialization at UT to discover exactly what the market is. But most of the antibodies that fail, they have gone through the in vivo testing process, right? And we know there's a clear problem. So we think the market is enormous. We just haven't quantified it yet. Thank you.
All right, very well. So that was the 5th of the second round, and there I made it with that the 10th of the 10 presentations. So you've listened to 10 presentations, which each had 180 seconds to get their message across, which in and of itself is an enormous feat to establish. So my congratulations to all 10 teams for being able to pull that off. Great work. That also leads us to, as soon as someone clicks on the next slide, over there. And this thing, there we go. That also leads us to the second round of audience favorites. And that means that you guys can go and vote for your the favorite out of the second group. And the judges from the second group can join our lead health associate, Praneeth, to vote on their own high favorite. I'm going to give you a few more seconds before handing it off to Ruben again to go on with the show. Ruben, thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Great. All right. So now we want to step back a little bit and take a broader context to innovation and entrepreneurship across UT. Thank you. Many of these projects that go through the Texas Health Catalyst program go on to get value from multiple stakeholders within UT. A major one is the various programs at Discovery to Impact. So I'm delighted to introduce you or call on Mark Arnold, Associate Vice President of Discovery to Impact, to tell you a little bit more about what they do and how programs like Texas Health Catalyst fit into their priorities.
All right, we're almost through the day. I just wanted to take a minute or two to give a little commercial about Discovery to Impact and what we do here at UT to help our life science innovators. Get that mug of me off the screen, please. Discovery to Impact, we are a team of 50+ professionals really focused on helping our campus innovators. get them through the ideation phase all the way through potential commercialization. And life science is a key element, a key cornerstone of the work that we do in Discovery to Impact. And over the past 5 years, we have done more than 300 patent filings. We've done more than 60 negotiations for licenses. And so when people talk in their presentations about the opportunity for patents and licenses, that makes me smile, right? That is more opportunity for us to help them down the road. But we do more than that. So in addition, we've got a number of investment funds and other vehicles that can help our innovators, not just help them through ideation and through the process, but help them through the funding of their ideas as well. One of those, just to briefly talk about it and kind of talk about some of the programs we do, is we have one called Proof of Concept. So if you think about it, you're an early entrepreneur, you're trying to figure out whether your idea has any merit. We can help you with that, give you the funding if that's going to be a lab assistant. That could be getting access to materials and resources that you may not be able to fund on your own. We have programs, and so one is the Proof of Concept Award. That's up to $25,000. We have given out over 55 such awards to date. That amounts to like $1.5 million. But I think the real value of the program is that $1.5 million has led to more than 3 times the amount of follow-on funding for these entrepreneurs to continue on their life science journey. So we have an application coming up in March, so scan the QR code for more information. In addition, most people are familiar with the SBIR, STTR programs. We also can help you with that. We have a number of upcoming seminars, one coming up soon on February 4th. So if you're new to trying to understand what an SBIR, STTR process is, how the application works, come join us for that. If you're already familiar and you've done one in the past, right, or you're going to be applying for the next round, we have workshops that can help you through the application process. In addition, you think about, well, maybe I've gone through ICOR, maybe I've gone through a regional or national program, right? UT is the home or the lead for the Southwest hub for ICOR, right? That's roughly across 5 states and nine other institutions, right? This is a team that has put more than 500 teams through the training of working through the idea, getting customer validation, right? They understand and they have the processes that can help you through this journey. And so when you think about in addition to helping you write the proposals, if you do get a SBR phase 1, we can also potentially help you with, as you're waiting and potentially applying for a phase 2, additional capital that can get you through that first early valley of death. So lots of opportunity there. In addition, you think about, you want to move a little bit faster, you want to go through a sprint type of program, right? We've got a program called Texas Biodesign. This is really kind of based around the teachings and methodologies from Stanford. And we've got a terrific program that we run through our Innovation Center. They can lead you through that as well. So tons of opportunity. Lastly, I'll touch on, and you thought we were finished. We have a group called the Life Science Technology Development Group, right? So this is a group that really helps, again, our early entrepreneurs, right? As you're trying to think through what is the regulatory environment going to be? How much is it going to cost? What is the process it's going to take to get to an IND or a trial? This is a group that can help you through that process as well. And so in addition to those types of resources, we will also be opening 10,000 square feet of wet lab space up at Palmer Lane towards the Domain. That should open up in April of this year, right? So this is going to be a fantastic resource. If you are a life science entrepreneur, you can get access to equipment that would cost you probably millions of dollars and probably impossible to get access to, right? So this is a facility that is going to fill up fast. We'll have memberships available. It's going to allow you to get access to not only equipment, but also university resources. So this is really going to be a unique asset for our life science innovators. And so with that, that's the quick commercial on Discovery to Impact and what we do. So we'll be around. We've got lots of our team members here today to tell you more about what we do. But really, the opportunity here is to introduce some of the alumni that have gone through this program and they're going to bring the audience a quick update in terms of what they've been up to. So first is Daniel and Aaron here. So each one's going to have 3 minutes to give an update on their company and their program.
Very much. Thanks very much for the opportunity to tell you about what we've been doing with medical elution devices. I worked on this with Dr. Aaron Baker in biomedical engineering, and our basic goal is to turn indwelling devices into drug delivery platforms. So the clinical problem is ICU patients require lots of painful tubes, chest tubes, bladder catheters, endotracheal tubes, and because of the discomfort that these things cause, they require strong pain medication, almost always in the form of narcotics in the vast majority of those patients. And of course, narcotics have lots of harmful side effects, and the pain from these chest tubes and other sorts of tubes are a huge dissatisfier for patients, in addition to the fact that the narcotics cause a lot of complications in their care. In addition, in the adult population, there's a real risk of opioid addiction. So in one study, 12% of patients who have had thoracic surgery ended up still on narcotics 180 days after their procedure, which probably means they're already lapsing into an abuse disorder. So not only does the pain and the side effects degrade the patient experience, but the use of narcotics is costly. So in a recent study of a large number of thoracic surgery patients, 17% had opioid-induced respiratory depression, 53% had opioid-induced nausea and vomiting, which increased their hospital stay and, of course, increased the cost of their hospitalization by a grand total of $1.38 billion. So our solution is to employ a process that creates tiny pores in the material of the tube itself, in this case a chest tube, and then one can load those pores with a gel that contains whatever medicine you would like to deliver. In the case of chest tubes that are painful, we've chosen bupivacaine, which is a local anesthetic. And then the tube releases the drug over a prolonged, modifiable period along its length where the mechanical irritation and pain is occurring. The first use case, as I mentioned, is a chest tube, big market, lots of them placed in the United States every year. So what is our progress to date? Well, first of all, we started out in the Texas Health Catalyst program, which we're very grateful for. We conducted market research, engaged an FDA consultant, and then filed provisional and final patents. We then went on to win some local competition money, became a mass challenge finalist, created a prototype and tested that, got some money from the proof of concept grant that you just heard about, and published an academic paper, and then had a couple of posters at Military Health Symposium, formed a company, and most recently got an NIH STTR grant and a grant from the Moss Trust through UT. So our next steps are to seek additional grant funding for an endotracheal tube application of this technology, and then to conduct an FDA pre-submission call, ultimately conducting animal studies in support of an FDA IDE application. Thank you very much for your attention, and thanks to the Texas Health Catalyst.
Okay, our next presenter is going to be Corinne Jones from ClothSense.
Thank you. So swallowing is complex. It's something that we do multiple times a day, many, many, many times a day. But we employ 31 pairs of muscles to move a food or liquid bolus from the lips just to the top of the esophagus, about 15 centimeters, in under 2 seconds. And the goals of swallowing are to, again, move the food and liquid into the esophagus while protecting the airway. We've all had things go down the wrong pipe, and as we see in an X-ray video of someone in the late stages of Parkinson's disease with significant swallowing disorders, the contrast does, in fact, go down the wrong pipe into the airway. This is a risk factor for aspiration pneumonia, which in Parkinson's disease is the leading cause of death. So the Adam's apple, or the larynx, elevates during the swallow, which is one of the main ways that we protect our airway. So everyone feel on your Adam's apple, and then swallow your saliva. And you'll be able to feel that elevate. However, the only way to accurately and reliably assess this is through these specialized X-ray videos. So the problem is that access to these x-rays are limited to specialized clinics, and these swallow exams only capture a snapshot in time, whereas we swallow about once a minute while we're awake and quietly resting, except for when we're eating, when it's many more times per minute. So we have a need for a non-invasive way to capture this airway movement during swallowing in natural settings for long periods of time. So with my colleagues, we have developed a cloth strain sensor that is worn around the neck that has wireless communication to apps that can then measure and quantify this particular aspect of swallowing behavior. And with the help of the Texas Health Catalyst, we had a regulatory assessment estimating a Class 2 exempt classification. There are many different use cases, but our beachhead use case is in monitoring swallowing decline in Parkinson's disease. So a patient is sent our device and worn for 24 hours. Then that data is analyzed and monitored, and then when there's a decline, a clinically significant decline in that airway movement, then they come in for that comprehensive assessment. So this is a summary of our progress in 2023. We participated in the Texas Health Catalyst. We have filed a provisional and working on our final patents. We have completed the Southwest Regional I-Corps and are working currently on the National I-Corps. We also secured funding through the NIH's Blueprint MedTech seedling program, which is provides some similar supports to Texas Health Catalyst. So if anyone wants to talk about that experience, it's been very exciting. We have used our prototype in humans. We don't have to go through animal testing, and we had our first publication accepted a few months ago without any revisions. And so we have a lot of future plans coming up, including a CPT code assessment, which we're working on right now, facilitating industry partnerships, doing further validation testing and prototype development, and doing dilutive and non-dilutive fundraising. So thanks to Texas Health Catalyst and also the Proof of Concept Award to help us on our mission to improve assessment, that'll improve outcomes and improve quality of life. Thank you.
Okay, and last up, we're going to have Craig Watkins from Good Rhythms.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So one of the things that we benefited from with participation in the Texas Health Catalyst program and being one of the finalists is that it encouraged us to continue doing research, encouraged us to continue sort of refining our product and product concept, and also continuing to do sort of discovery with our potential users and customers. And so over the last 2 years or so since Texas Health Catalyst, we've continued to do a lot of work with clinical teams, including research, observation, and we've learned a lot of things. But one of the more interesting things that we've learned is that most clinicians tell us that when they have a patient in the clinic, they have a general sense or can develop a general sense of how that patient is doing. They have access to medical records, they have access to any kind of screener tool that they're using, and obviously they have the patient in the clinic so they can see and talk to them and get a sense of how they're doing. But when that patient leaves the clinic, things go dark. They have no sense of where this patient is, they have no sense of what this patient is doing, and we see that right as a problem space or an opportunity space to really help clinicians develop a much more sort of deeper understanding of the variety of factors that may be impacting health outcomes. So whereas they may have a sense of how a patient is doing, from our perspective, they have little to any understanding of what a patient is doing. And we know that those social, behavioral, and environmental factors are quite significant in terms of impacting health outcomes. So our product Good Rhythms is really designed to sort of create customized and more advanced solutions for doing what's oftentimes referred to as remote patient monitoring, but doing that in ways that are customized to the clinical environment in which this application or product might be used in. And so here's some examples of how you might begin to use a product or a tool like Good Rhythms in order to do what's oftentimes referred to as digital phenotyping, digital biomarking, which is essentially a way of sort of using mobile sensors, using mobile devices to basically do behavioral modeling, to give you sort of the signals and feedback to help you understand not only kind of what a patient is doing, how a patient is doing, but what a patient is doing. And so the variety of different ways in which these tools and technologies can be used to collect this data, to allow them to get access to proper signals and feedback. Again, all of these markers that can significantly enhance significantly deepen their capacity to understand what a patient is doing and how they may be able to customize some type of intervention, some type of solution, some type of pathway to help that patient along their sort of recovery journey. So we're working right now, since our time with Texas Health Catalyst, we're currently working with 2 clinical teams to sort of test and pilot our product. One is a team located here at the Dell Medical School, the kidney transplant team. And imagine, for example, a patient after having received a kidney transplant, the significant amount of detailed follow-up that's required to sort of understand how that patient is progressing, whether or not, in fact, that patient is progressing towards a successful recovery. When we talk to the team, they have a variety of ways in which they try to do this, but ways that aren't necessarily efficient and ways that don't allow them to understand, again, those behavioral, social, and environmental markers that are certainly impacting outcome. When we ask them, for instance, what do you look for in terms of a successful patient, they say quality of life. And so what we've decided is how we could work with them to develop or customize our architecture to give them perhaps some type of quality of life score that might help them sort of prioritize or help them early predict when or if a patient is on path towards recovery. We're also currently working with a behavioral health organization. You can imagine, right, just the amount of demand that's currently on behavioral health specialists, right? In fact, what we oftentimes hear in the field is that we simply don't have enough staff and can't hire enough staff to respond to the demands for our services. And so imagine being able to have a tool that might allow you to be able to sort of remotely monitor patients, again, begin to identify those signals, those features, those biomarkers that may give you direct feedback in terms of understanding what a patient is doing. And so we're also scoping out a pilot with an organization that does this kind of work. Our sort of next steps is what we've been working on. We have 2 investment offers right now that we're currently assessing and evaluating. We are going to be working with Discovery to Impact to sort of develop a business plan and revenue model. And we're also continuing to do research and continuing to sort of deepen our understanding. We published a couple of papers sort of related to this work and are looking forward to further expansion of this opportunity. And here are just a list of some of the partners that we've worked with currently now or have worked with that have informed, developed our insight, and allowed us to really sort of understand what our vision might be and the kind of impact that we might have. So we're very thankful for Texas Health Catalyst and for the opportunity to sort of grow and sort of understand where we might have impact in this space.
All right, thank you, Craig. Thank you, Mark. So as you can tell, we're very proud of alums as well as our current teams. They are early projects, but really the objective of the Texas Health Catalyst program is, how can we bring the insights that all of you bring around clinical viability and commercial relevance as early and as upstream of the innovation process as possible. So what these folks are building is actually commercializable. All right, so now it's the final stretch. I just have a quick plug for our Health Associates program. As you can see, we have some fabulous health associates who are passionate about health innovation, and they go through training and experiential learning about innovation. So if you are interested in the next cohort of health associates, or a student who might be interested, please follow up with us, and you can register at this QR code. All right, so this is the final slide. So thank you, everyone. This was a great event. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. I want to thank the operational staff of the program, all our health associates, all our partners. And this brings an end to the event today. I hope you can all join us for the reception upstairs on the 8th floor. Couple of things. Please pick up after yourself, because otherwise we'll have to clean up the room. So put the trash away, and please join us upstairs. We will be presenting the 5 awards as well as the audience favorite award upstairs once we're there. So thank you again for coming, and look forward to chatting with you upstairs. All right, one final thing, the mentors for this cycle, come collect your bobbleheads.
So I need to take a picture. Oh.
It looks like it says Mr. Super. It's like a Mars. That's yeah, I think it's an MR.